Test.
Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for you. The top of your pages. Vasuli Mikdash V'shachanti Betocham Vasuli Mikdash V'shachanti Betocham.
Oh Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living, sanctuary for you.
Welcome, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I want you all to picture yourselves being on the front porch. You've just had a long day of work. You've come home and you've got the sun setting on the horizon and a nice pitcher of lemonade or iced tea just to cool off. And you're in your rocking chair and you're just kind of taking it all in, and the birds are chirping and the sun is setting and everything's all right. It's a down-home Shabbat, and that's what we've got tonight. A down-home bluegrass Shabbat with a banjo and a full bluegrass band on the bima. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of melodies that we've been hearing for the last several months, some cases last couple weeks, and a lot of familiar tunes as well. So I want you all to sing along with the band as much as you can. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I want to welcome and invite up Rabbi Meir to say a couple words of welcome and get us started with candle lighting.
All right, it's wonderful to have you all here. Shabbat Shalom. It's a privilege for us to get to host you and be led in prayer by you. Surely Moshe Rabbeinu and Avraham Avinu, they composed these melodies and the bluegrass spirit that you all are bringing to us. So we're grateful to you. And as we do every Shabbat, we light the Shabbat candles. And so if I can ask the Greenbaums to come up and lead us in the candle lighting right here. We're on page 2. Ed, you got your the right shirt on for, bring the spirit of the evening in. Exactly. Here you go.
Yes, we'll turn it around. Sorry. Good. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Beautiful.
Thank you, Green Bombs. We'll begin our journey through the Psalms, through Kabbalat Shabbat, with the words of Yedid Nefesh on page 332.
Kol hanshama tihalel Hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol hanshama tihalel Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Yedid Nefesh Av Harachaman Meshoch Avdecha El Retzonecha Yarutz Avdecha Kemo Ayal Yishtachaveh El Muladarecha Yerav Lo Yedidutecha Minof Etzuf Vechol Ta'am Adonai Ziv Haolam Nafshi Cholat Ahavatecha Ana Elna Refana La Beharod La Noam Zivecha אז תתחזק ותתרבה והייתה לה שמחת עולם.
Vatik Yeremu Narachamecha V'chusana Al beinahu v'cha Ki ze kama נחשפתי לראות בתפארת עוזך ענה לי חמדת ליבי חוסנה לתתעלה. תגלנה ופרוס חביבי עלי את סוכת שלומך תאיר ארץ מכבודך נגילה ונשמחה בה מהר אהוב כי בא מועד וחננו כימי עולם. יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 יאללה לי 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 ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. I want to take a moment just to introduce the leader of tonight's musical project, Matt Check. And I'll talk a little bit about how we met in a moment, but perhaps, Matt, you can just give us on one foot, al regel echad, how you came into this beautiful mixture of bluegrass. I know we're going to hear more about it later, but the mixture of Judaism and bluegrass, if you can just give us like 1 minute.
Sure. 1 minute. The elevator pitch. The word klezmer is 2 words in Hebrew. Clay from kalim, which is a vessel, and zemer, which means melody. Klezmer, vessels of melody, which for klezmer music, the instruments are the vessels of Jewish melody. And, you know, for whatever reason, we're all American, I'm American, this became the vessel for my melody. When I first heard the banjo, when I was 18 years old, I knew I had to play it. And I would just love bluegrass music like everybody on the stage with me. And as I just became a person and developed as a person, I just kept playing the banjo. And I'm a Jewish educator, and at some point I started playing the banjo for Jews. And, you know, 15, 20 years later, this is what happens. It's as simple as that, folks. And I thought of something much more eloquent to say, but I'm not going to say it because I just want to play some music and daven and have a nice Kabbalat Shabbat with everybody. And I'm really grateful that you decided to have my first bluegrass Shabbat in 6 years. I'm really excited to do this tonight, so thank you. Shehechianu.
I think it's anybody's first bluegrass Shabbat in 2 years, so. And Matt's not giving himself enough credit. I think he's the one who coined the term Jewgrass. Register the website. So, let's continue down the path of the Psalms and turn to Lechunaranana and Shiruladonai, Psalms 95 and 96 on pages 12 and 13.
Lechunaranana Ladonai Naria Litzur Litzur Yishenu Nikadem Afanav Betodah Bizmirot Narialo
Arbaim Shana Akut Bedor Vaomar Am Toeh Levavim Vehem Lo Yadu Derachai Asher Nishbati Ve'api Im Yeveun El Menuchati.
Shiruladonai, Shir Chadash.
Page 13.
Shiruladonai, Shir Chadash, Shiruladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiruladonai, Baruch Shemo, Pasru Meyom Leyom Yeshuato, Sapru Vagoyim Kevodo, Bechol Ha'amim Niflotav, Ki Gadol Adonai, Chulal Meyot, Norahu, Al Kol Elohim, Ay, ay, ay,
Ki kol Elohim Ha'amim Ha'amim Elilim V'Adonai Shmai Masa Hod
V'Hadar, Hadar Lefanav, Oz V'Tiferet B'Mikdasho, Avur Ladonai Mishpechot Amim, Avur Ladonai Kavod Va'oz, Lai, 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 lai.
Sehu mincha uvahu lechatzurta. La la la, sing with us. La la la,
La 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 Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, umlo. 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 Ya'alo sarevacho asher bo, az yeraneinu kol hatzeyar, lifnei Adonai kiva, kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel betzedek, ve'amim be'emunato. Page 14, we continue with Psalm 97. Just ring it out. No, Adonai malak tegel haaretz, yismechu yim rabim, anan v'rafer sevivav tzedek u'mishpat mchichon kiso. O Havei Adonai, Sineora, Shomer nefashot chasidav, Miyad reshayim yahatzilem. Or zarua la tzadik ul yishrei lev simcha. Or zarua la tzadik ul yishrei lev Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, b'Adonai, v'hodu lezecher kodesho, lezecher kodesho. Or zarua la tzadik o yishrei lev simcha. Or zarua la tzadik o yishrei lev simcha. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, b'Adonai, lehodu lezecher kodesho, lezecher kodesho. Or zarua la tzadik u yishrei lev simcha. Page 16. Zamru ladonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra. 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 We'll continue at the bottom of page 17, the last paragraph of Psalm 99, Romemu. Romemu, Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, Romemu, 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 Adonai Eloheinu, Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, v'hishtachavu lehar kodecho. Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, v'hishtachavu lehar kodecho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu, Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu, Romemu. Romemu, Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, Romemu. Romemu, Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, Romemu.
Romemu,
Adonai Eloheinu, v'hishtachavu lehar kodecho. Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, v'hishtachavu lehar kodecho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu, Romemu.
Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu romemu Adonai Eloheinu romemu.
Beautiful. We'll continue on page 18, Psalm 29. Shall we?
Okay, the Psalm from Mizmor LeDavid.
Am I taking harmony on this? I'm taking it. You're taking harmony? Okay. 1, 2,
Mizmor LeDavid, Havul Adonai b'nei Elim, Havul Adonai kavod va'oz, Havul Adonai kevod shemo, Ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai amayim el hakavod hirim, Adonai amayim mayim rabim, Kol Adonai b'koach, Kol Adonai behadar,
Kol Adonai shover
arazim, vayishaver Adonai et hazeh halvanon, et hazeh halvanon. Kol Adonai shover arazim, vayishaver Adonai et arzei alvanon, vayarkidem kemo egel Levanon desirion,
Kemoven Remin
Kol Adonai chotzev lavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil mibar, yachil Adonai mibar
Kol
kadesh,
Adonai
יחלל איילות, ויחסוב ויהרוג ובחולו, כולו אומר כבוד.
Adonai lemabu
ישב וישב אדוני
melech leolam
לעולם עמו
Adonai
יברך את עמו בשלום. לי 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 לי
Yeah.
All right.
Adonai owes le'amo yitain. May God grant strength to God's people, and may Adonai bestow on God's blessing, God's people well-being. We turn now to page 20, Lechado D. We get to welcome Shabbat, official. This is the official moment. That's that moment where we're sitting on the porch, and over the horizon we see a figure, and it's coming closer as the sun is setting, and all we can make out is the silhouette, but it's coming closer and closer. And as that silhouette comes closer, we rise. Not now, but toward the end. We rise to see. Who is that down there? Is that the Sabbath Queen? That is the Sabbath Queen. All right. Page 20, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Try with us.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. נקבלה, 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 נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, ישמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומאורי, אורי, אורי, שתדברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. נקבלה. And there she is. She's coming over the horizon. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Sing loud. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. נקבלה, נקבלה.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. I think the Sabbath bride has arrived, yes? Okay. Page 22, the Psalm for Shabbat. Now that Shabbat is here, we can sing. Well, it's behind Lecha Dodi. It's right here. Okay, now it's got it. Okay. C sharp? Yes, we do it freely, right? Yeah. Okay. C minor. Ready? Mizmor shir leyom hashabbat,
טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות עלי עשור ועלי נבל עלי היגיון בכינור מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון כי שמחתני אדוני בפעליך במעשה ידיך ארנן מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון צדיק כתמר יפרח יפרח צדיק כתמר יפרח יפרח צדיק כתמר יפרח יפרח צדיק כתמר יפרח כארז בלבנון יזכה כארז בלבנון יזכה כארז בלבנון יזכה יזכה כארז בלבנון יזכה כארז בלבנון יזכה כארז בלבנון יזכה יזכה
צדיק כתמר יפרח יפרח צדיק כתמר יפרח
צדיק כתמר יפרח יפרח צדיק כתמר יפרח צדיק כתמר יפרח יפרח צדיק כתמר יפרח כארז בלבנון יזכה כארז בלבנון יזכה כארז בלבנון יזכה יזכה כארז בלבנון יזכה כארז בלבנון יזכה כארז בלבנון יזכה יזכה Page 24, we welcome the angels who accompany us throughout our lives into our midst. They accompany us throughout the days of the week, but especially on Shabbat. And so we're on page 24. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boechem LeShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Barchuni LeShalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Malachei Elyon Mi Melech מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שלום עליכם, שלום עליכם, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון. ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Come on up.
Shabbat Shalom all. One more time. Welcome again. I want to just offer a little piece of Torah from our Parsha. Before I do, I want to frame the way the Parsha opens by offering a question that all of us face all the time, which is when we're about to have a stressful situation, a situation in which we feel like we're not in control, we're feeling vulnerable, we're feeling scared, we're feeling maybe a little guilty, there's a lot at stake. What aspects of ourselves do we bring? I'm going to be brief, but okay, it's fine to sit. It's just a word of Torah, just a word. So it's a very serious question. Who shows up in these situations in which we're full of anxiety? You know, we don't know what's going to happen. We're scared for any number of reasons. We're not in control of the situation. We don't have the power to dictate a situation. And this, I'm describing the situation that Judah faces as he has an audience with the most powerful man in the world, that being, right, the second in command, let's say, to the ruler in Egypt, the Pharaoh. And Judah is approaching this man. He doesn't know who he is. We know that it's his brother. And the Parsha says, Vayigash elav Yehudah. And Judah approaches. So the Midrash actually has this beautiful idea about the word Vayigash, Hagasha. It can mean in a state of war. It can mean from a perspective of compromise, or it can be from an inner place of prayer. This is what the Midrash says. And the question I offer the Midrash because I think it's telling us something about each of us. When we face difficult situations, how do we present ourselves? What is the inner place that we bring? Is it milchama? Is it a kind of like embattled place? Is it a place of compromise? Is it a place of prayer? That's a question really for each of us to take home and have a conversation over our maybe Shabbat dinner, lunch, whatever. I want to just offer the answer that one of the great Hasidic masters offers. He points out that we know that Judah is approaching, as I said, the ruler of Egypt, Joseph. He doesn't know it. And Judah, the verse is Vayigash elav Yudah. And there's this word elav that's unnecessary because we know that Judah is before Joseph. So here's this word elav suggests to the great Hasidic teacher, the Kotzker Rebbe. He says that kavanato, the intention, the meaning of the word elav, to him, Judah approached to him, obviously Joseph, but that word is unnecessary, so maybe it means something, there's a meaning in addition to Yosef. The Kotzker Rebbe says, kavanato el atzmo. You're a Hebrew speaker, right? So what does that mean? I'm going to close with connecting this to you, I think, Matt. So what does it mean? Actually, when Judah approaches the most powerful man in the world, Judah is beginning to recognize that he's got some major work to do to go into the truest, most genuine, most vulnerable place in himself. So when Judah approaches Elav, it's not that Judah is approaching physically, walking up to the ruler. Judah is actually going towards Joseph by going into himself. What does it mean for each of us in difficult situations when the most important place is to find some truth be'atzmo, atzmi? So I'm going to close by offering this. Matt, it seems to me that the banjo, bluegrass, and Yahadut in Judaism, the way you described it, I think, in this brief moment, maybe you'll speak more about it, when we're able to actually bring these disparate parts of ourselves, sometimes they're in conflict, sometimes we have no idea that they're connected, sometimes it never even occurred to us that we might be able to connect these parts. Banjo, bluegrass, Judaism, oh wow, maybe I can bring them together. Maybe that's what it means for Judah to Vayigash Elav, to actually come close to himself, to be able to come close to this idea that ultimately I want to be a person who has the courage to save my little brother Benjamin, to have the courage to sacrifice or to suffer whatever punishment or consequence there is for my choices. And that's a very high teaching and a very maybe a great understanding of why ultimately our tradition follows the name of Judah. Who are we? We're Jews. We're Judahites. We're Jewish. We're Yehudim. That's Yehuda's name, because of our courage to go to ourselves. Shabbat Shalom. Baruch Hu. Please rise. Yes, Cantor? Yes. Rise on page something. 30?
It's definitely page something. Thank you, Rabbi. It was page 28.
And as a coda to what you were saying, Rabbi, kavana to be'atzmo kavana, we're all daven with intention. There we go. Right towards to ourselves. Kivun. Okay, cool.
Page 28.
Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Leolam Vaed. Leolam Vaed. Lai, lai, la, 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 lai, 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 lai. Lai, lai, la, 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 lai, 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 lai. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam asher bidbaro ma'ariv ערבים בחוכמה פותח שירים ובתבונה משנה עיתים ומחליף את הזמנים ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרתם ברגיר כרצונו בורא יום ולילה גולר מפני חושך וחושך מפני יום ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה ומארוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד לעולם ועד לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים.
Page 32.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת
תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam Vaed Vaed.
As we continue on to page 36 and the words of the Ve'ahavta, we're going to have a little bit of a throwback, and I know bluegrass on its own feels like a throwback to some of us, but this is going to be a melody that some of you may not have heard in 30 years. Because when I heard Matt play this, I said, wow, I haven't heard that Ve'ahavta in 30 years.
And I was surprised that nobody remembered it, and I love this melody from camp, and so I put it on the album. So it's a joy for me to play because it brings me back to camp.
Take it away, Matt.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Ve'ahavta, ve'ahavta, et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha, ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. נה 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 נה. קלאפ קלאפ. נה 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 נה. נה 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 נה. נה 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 נה. נה 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 נה. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך. יאי ני 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 ושינמתם לבניך בדיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ולכתך בדרך, ובשוך בך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, על מזוזות ביתך, ובישעריך.
Lai 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 la la lai 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 la 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 lai la 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 lai 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 lai.
Beautiful. We continue on page 40 with the words of Micha Mocha.
מי כמוך, who is like you,
Who is like you?
מי כמוך,
Who makes wonders? No one like you.
מי כמוך, באלים אדוני,
נהדר בקודש,
נורא
תהילות עושה פלא,
מלכותך
רבניך בוקע ים לפני משה, זה אלי
ואמרו
ואמרו
אדוני
ימלוך לעולם ועד. יא לי לי לי, יא לי לי לי, יא לי לי לי. מי כמוך, who is like you, who is like you. מי כמוך, who makes wonders, no one like you.
No one like you.
No one like you. No one like you. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגואלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Hashkivenu, page 40. This is the song that actually brought me into Matt's orbit. I think I taught a class when I first got here to Great Neck, and one of the classes was on Hashkivenu. And how many different Hashkivenus can we find in different styles and different places? Some of you were there. I remember your faces from Zoom. And one of the melodies was sung by my friend Cantor Beth-El, who's in Baltimore now, and there was this funny dude next to him playing the banjo. And I thought, this is a great song. Why? This is a great melody. I got to find it. And so I wrote to Ben, and Cantor Ellerin said, oh, it's written by this guy named Matt Check. You ought to check him out. And I did. And he sent me the chart. And I put it in front of Shai, our good friend Shai, and Shai said, oh yeah, I know Matt. I played on this album. We ought to bring him in. I said, we ought to bring him in. And then I discovered there was a whole Kabbalat Shabbat experience. So pleased to know that you guys are going to sing loud with me on this tune that you've come to know and love as much as I have.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom. 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 Lay us down, Adonai. You'll spread your wings over us all. Give us peace and keep us safe. L'shalom, l'shalom, l'shalom. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, l'shalom, l'shalom, l'shalom. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Baruch atah Adonai, Haporei sukat shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. I smile every time I hear that melody. And he wrote it on his lunch break. You know, that's funny because the traditional melody for the next prayer we're going to have on page 44 of Vishamru was also written on a lunch break, I think. But not this one. So page 44, Vishamru. Veshameru v'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Hai beini uvein bnei Yisrael oti le'olam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz uvayom ha'shevi shavat vayinafash uvayom ha'shevi shavat vayinafash. I invite you to rise in your hearts or to your feet, whichever is most comfortable, for Amidah or Tefillah, beginning on page 46. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Page 50, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה כל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדום מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. Page 52, אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך, סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Before we take a few moments for private meditations of the heart, let's look at page 53 and read together in the English at the top of the page. Days pass and the years vanish and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay, touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God. We'll continue in private meditations for a few moments and rejoin together on page 60 for the evening prayer for peace. Shalom Rav. Feel free to continue at your own pace, or you can join us on page 60 for Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam.
V'tov beinecha yivarech
Et Amcha Yisrael B'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל
בכל עת
בכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. So we will do as we normally do. We're going to go out into, the rabbi and I will go out into the congregation and we'll seek out names for those who are in need of our prayers for healing. And as we do that, you can turn to page 253 as we prepare for the band's rendition of the prayer for healing. So we'll be with you in a moment. You can follow along with us. The last two lines on the top paragraph of page 253. רפואת הנפש, רפואת הגוף, ובזמן קריב ונאמר אמן. רפואת הנפש, רפואת הגוף, ובזמן קריב ונאמר amen. Sing with us, amen. Amen, amen. ובזמן קריב ונאמר amen. Amen, amen. בזמן קריב ונאמר amen. רפואת הנפש, רפואת הגוף, ובזמן קריב ונאמר אמן. רפואת הנפש, רפואת הגוף, ובזמן קריב ונאמר amen. Together, let's sing. Amen, amen. ובזמן קריב ונאמר amen. Amen, amen. בזמן קריב ונאמר amen. בזמן קריב ונאמר amen. בזמן קריב ונאמר amen. And so now I'm going to turn it over to my friend Matt to talk to us a little bit about what it is he does, how he got to be doing it, and how all this amazing music came to be. So take it away, Matt.
I was talking to I'm also a Hebrew school principal, actually, in Manhattan. I was talking to my 6th graders yesterday. There's some midrashim about this week's portion about Abraham having planted cedar trees in Beersheba, the city of Beersheba, and on their way down to Egypt, Jacob stops there to check out the trees, and he chops them down. This is a midrash, right? They bring it down to Egypt, and it stays in Egypt for as long as they're in slavery, and then they bring it back up with them to build the Mishkan, the portable holy temple in the desert, which is I think it's a really funny midrash, because who wants to carry cedar trees, into the desert? It's a little bit silly. But anyway, so I was talking to my kids, because if you think about it, it's like it's an E flat chord. It's discordant, having artifacts from your great grandparents. So I was asking them, what do you have of your family that's really old? What's like a relic? Like what's something, from your childhood that you can remember that your grandparents might have had? So take a second. Does anybody have an answer to that? Does anything come to mind you have of your family? You can raise your hand. It's fine. I'm actually asking. Yes. What do you have? Oh, you do? Very cool. Candlesticks. The third? And the Kiddush cup. Your grandfather was tefillin. That's very cool. And I also have, my mother also has my great-great-grandmother's candlesticks. And I'll tell you something really interesting. During the lockdown of the first lockdown, I lived with my folks, and we lit Shabbat candles for 16 weeks in a row when I lived with them. And I did Shabbat on Zoom. I led Shabbat services on Zoom, and it was really fun and really cool. And I don't think I've ever done Shabbat with my parents that many weeks in a row until I was 39 years old. It's really interesting. So it was like this strange byproduct of the pandemic. And it was also one of like the most like prolific moments of like writing music. I wrote a lot of music in the lockdowns, and it was really great. And so what I wanted to say, because you asked me to say something, like some words of Torah, that, for me, the authentic me, myself, is bringing my music and my Judaism together. It's always been that. And I didn't plan it that way. My life turned out that way. I really did not plan it. I thought I was going to do other things, and here I am, like decades and decades later, still playing music in front of people and in synagogues, and it's really amazing. And so I think that, you know, the reason why I bring up this piece from like the portion from this weekend, like, you know, what do we have, the artifacts of our ancestors? Like for me, it's music, and music survives, right? And so there are melodies of the Jewish tradition that have inspired me to write music, and it has really influenced me as a bluegrass musician. And I really mean that with all of my heart. And it doesn't always like make sense when you tell people that who don't go to synagogue, but when I'm speaking to, you know, people who grew up with the same melodies that I did, I'm telling you that being a bluegrass musician and the way that I write and the way that I've played is really influenced by this synagogue, and it's an ultimate expression of Lador Vador for me personally. It's my cedars in Beersheba that apparently Abraham planted and we brought down to Egypt and back into the desert, which, whatever, man, you know. Anyway, Shabbat Shalom. That's it. That's all I got.
So we continue our service with the words of Aleinu on page 282. I invite you to rise to your feet or in your hearts, whichever is most comfortable. 282, bottom of the page. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 284. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים, ואלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום וישבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד. Page 287. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Okay, as always, we remember loved ones before concluding. If you want to all remain standing, you may. If you'd like to sit, you can. But we remember this week, period of Shloshim, last 30 days, Robert Carlin and Sherman Tufel. Remember the Yortzeit, the anniversary of the passing of these beloved temple members and family members of TBE. Samuel Abrams, Elizabeth Baruch, Theodore Cohen, and Gertrude Cooper. Joan Greenfield, Cantor Robert Harmon, Temple Beth-El, former beloved cantor from 1960 to 1970, Cantor Robert Harmon. Jack Horning, Louis Jacobs, Ben Levin, Bertram D. Plain, Jack Permit, Ralph Leon Shear, Hedwin Schott and Werner Schott, Ernest Seides, Maybetty Squires, Bess Weiner, and as well Richard Arkin and Thelma Greenbaum. If you'd like to add a name you're remembering someone whose name is not on their list, feel free to do so. Anyone for you all? If it's your custom to rise with the mourners, feel free to do so. We're on page 294, Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal, V'Kadash Shemei Rabbah, B'Yalma Divra Cherutei, V'Yamlich Malchutei, B'Chayechon, V'Yomechon, V'Chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, B'Gala V'Zman Kariv, V'Imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach, Le'olam Olamei Almaya, Yitbarach, V'Yishtabach, V'Yitpa'ar, V'Yitramam, V'Yitnaseh, V'Yitadar, V'Yit'aleh, V'Yithalal, Shemei D'Kudesha B'Rechu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran b'yalma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel. And let us say one last time.
Amen.
Okay, please be seated. Let's see. First of all, some thank yous, Matt, to your wonderful chavruta, your partners, your music makers. It's been a beautiful, beautiful service. Cantor Adam, to you, and I always thank Shai as well, because actually our pianist Shai Kedmi, he's part of the reason why this happened tonight. So, even though you're not here, Shai, we are grateful to you. Tomorrow morning, Torah study, in person and virtual, 9:15. As well, Shabbat Minyan at 10:30 in this room. All kinds of other program, activities going on. I want to thank the bakers. I don't have the announcement list here, so what are you going to do, Cantor?
I'm not remembering a lot of programs beyond that, but we do have lots of. We have a wonderful bar mitzvah coming up next weekend. Avery Leibowitz, and next Friday night we're going to be unveiling the new piece of artwork by Ellen Walk upstairs, which is part of our Shavuot Torah celebration project last spring, and that's going to be a wonderful event. Before services next weekend, 6:45.
Next week, yep.
Next Friday night.
Okay, so with that, we're going to close. We're going to Kiddush and Motzi. Cantor, you're going to...
Happy to do it.
You got it over there?
Okay. Here we go. I believe it's on
Why don't we
page...
rise? We're on page 5.
ויאכלו המים ויארץ וכל צבאם ויאכל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות צבריך ברוך אתה אדוני
Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri agafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'yavav v'ratzon inchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrai kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Tuesday. Excellent vintage. All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Let's take the little thumb. It always tastes the best. All right. Shabbat Shalom. I want to thank you all for being here. You can have a seat. We're going to play out in a couple minutes, a couple seconds, as soon as I finish chewing that little bit of challah. I really want to thank you all for being here and participating as much as you did, and I want to thank the band. And maybe while I'm chewing through this challah, which I think is also from Tuesday, maybe you can take a moment to introduce the members of the ensemble.
Sure, some great friends up here on the mandolin. Caesar, what's the name of your band? We have Caesar Moreno is in a band called Moonshine Falls in Brooklyn, New York. Caesar on the mandolin. Caesar. We have Eric Alvar on the bass. Eric, do you have a band you're in right now, or? He's in a bunch of
Many
projects.
bands.
Many. We have Jason Borisov on the guitar. The Bluegrass Brooklyn Collective, and he's an awesome producer. I track songs at his studio all the time in Bushwick, Conveyor, NYC. He's really great. And we have Rob Hecht on the fiddle. Rob didn't want me to say anything about him, but I gotta say, Rob, you're like one of my favorite fiddle players, and he's played with Taylor Swift. That's right. That's like, I'm sorry, Rob, I had to say it. I know you don't want me to say anything, but you're the most.
He's also played with Matt Check.
Yeah.
Which is really impressive.
That's what I said the last time he canceled on me, went and go play with Taylor instead of my gig. But anyway, so I'm really excited that all of them got to play with us tonight, and thanks for coming, guys. It's been really great, and hopefully we'll do it again.
And thank you, Matt Check. All right, we'll close with a reprise of Shiruladonai, only we'll do it to Shabbat Shalom. Yeah, ready?
And then we'll see you at the Oneg.
Yeah, Oneg.
1, 2, 3, bang!
Shabbat Shalom, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Oh, say Shalom. Bimromav, oh Yaseh Shalom, ay la la.
All right. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, gentlemen.